Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. It's the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
All right, welcome back to the show, Mike LaValley. How are you doing?
I am really good, guys. How are you this evening?
Very good. Thanks for coming on such short notice.
Yeah, I know the emails I sent you are probably still just popping into your mailbox there. It was fairly last minute, but I tried to send you some stuff, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we got them.
Your fans here.
Yeah, we got them all. So, also too, I know I sent you an email after the event, but I wanted to thank you for the Lodge Sessions toques and stickers and everything you provided a few years ago. That was very generous of you, and the boys had a great time.
Well, you know, you need a toque when you've got this little hair up here, you know?
Yeah, you can't grow grass on busy streets, right? So how's things going? The picture we used for the thumbnails from Heydays, I understand you guys were kicking some butt there.
Well, we did. It was a long, drawn-out story. We can talk some technical stuff, or we can talk the fun stuff at Heydays, and I know you guys had some fun stuff at Heydays, so we could do the Heyday stuff first if you like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, actually, let's step back, and just for anybody that doesn't know what Maxceleration Racing is or who you are, just give us a little, soapbox presentation, if you will.
Sure, the two-minute elevator speech.
Yeah.
I have a performance snowmobile parts business based in Calgary, Alberta, so way out in the west here, right at the base of the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. You can see the mountains across the street from the house and shop here, so that's kind of a nice thing. Do a lot of performance stuff, turbo performance, mostly on 4-stroke. Some things with that are unique to us with our performance bearings and some wheels, and do a lot of racing as well. We're quite passionate about the drag racing. I know you like people that are passionate about the sport. So I kind of like to refer to the drag racers as maybe the most passionate people in snowmobiling when you think about it, because I mean they spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, 6 months in the off season to go race for 5 seconds at a time. If you don't have a passion level for that, you're in big trouble. So we like supporting those people for sure. Yeah,
the ice oval racing guys would argue though that they're most passionate. Not the.
Well, everybody has their argument, Dave, but. I mean, but what's an ice oval heat? You know, it lasts a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
If you sum up all the passes I made at Heydays, it didn't add up to 30 seconds. So.
Yeah. Are you racing yourself still?
Yes.
And
yes,
how young are you?
Well, I'll be turning 60 this year, so.
Cheers to that. That's awesome. Yeah. And what have you learned along the way of your racing career? Anything you want to share with the boys?
Oh, geez. It's a long one. I don't know how you pick one thing. I've been doing it for, 30 years or more. The best thing for success in racing, the race isn't won at the race. The race is won a month or two before you go racing in your preparation, especially with drag racing, for sure. So.
Oh, absolutely. And what typically things do you do to prep for a race?
Oh, just getting the sled ready, making it as ready as you can be so that you're not stressed out when you get there. If you're not there, if you've got those final adjustments to make and you're hustling in the trailer, your head's not in the right place, if your equipment's ready and you're ready to go, when the light goes green, it's a lot easier to concentrate. So.
Yeah. You're going to love Renegade X 850 as much as I do. He says 60 is young.
Awesome.
There you go.
Like
Yeah. Lepoinski says he loves a sweatshirt, Gary. This is my new line of clothes, Let It Ride, Mud Brats. So I'm going to have those on the store and the website shortly, but
Aren't my stickers still in here
I'll make
somewhere?
a post. We got Decknals too. No, I took them to go snow.
You took mine?
We went snowmobiling, yeah. I'm going to hand yours out first. But if you see us on the trail, Drew and I are out this weekend. Anybody see us on the trail, make sure you stop us. We got Decknals and everything to hand out and then some. So
I like the yellow ones more. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
for
the
sure.
one. There we go.
And those ones fit better on a sled too.
They do. The smaller ones do, for sure.
Yep.
That one there's more of a trailer decal.
Oh, here's the sled. These ones would be good for your tunnel, maybe.
Yeah.
They're about
Absolutely.
They're about the size
or
of your
back
hand.
window of your car or whatever. So,
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I just wanted something more like the Sea Boys type thing that everybody can wear. You know what I mean? And it says it all. That's kind of like my season this year. We're just kind of letting it ride. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where that came from. And I want to be let ride, if you know what I mean. So. But yeah, so they'll be on the store shortly. I was going to have them on the store for tonight, but I didn't get there yet, but we did there. So yeah, so when you say, Tim Weiss says, when you say you race on a track, is it track or dirt? Is it asphalt or
dirt
or grass or both?
Grass and dirt. When I go grass racing, asphalt's probably about the only surface I haven't raced on. For years and years, decades, raced on ice and snow and on grass, and did it all in Western Canada, and had pretty good success. Won a lot of points championships and won some stuff, but had never been to the big show. Heydays is kind of the Super Bowl when it comes to snowmobile and Powersports events. It's the biggest there is. There's no slow guys racing at Heydays.
No.
Zero.
No.
So as we touched on, we're not getting any younger, and I thought, well, I can still do this. Let's put it together this year and take a crack at it and go down there. And it was kind of an interesting kind of thing. I had planned to race in a different class. It was going to be the Improved 1000 class. Was getting my stock sled ready to go and improve it and go for Improved 1000. And right up to registration time, you register about 6 or 8 weeks actually. So you have to register before you actually compete at Heydays. And called in and talked to the people at registration. They said, "What kind of sled are you riding?" And I told them, and they said, "Well, you can't enter that in Improved 1000." So we had several discussions on the rules and what's allowed and what's not, and it's their show. So they came out on top in the discussions, and we had to change gears. And we thought, well, we've already made all these plans and got help arranged and all that sort of thing. We're going down. So what are we going to do? Well, we took the farm sled. That's kind of our big race sled, and let's go down there and run. And the only class we could run in is one of the featured classes. There's Outlaw, and then there's Pro 55 Extreme. Those are the two big classes, and the only class that I qualified for was Pro 55 Extreme. So I said, you know what? On paper, we have no chance, but we're going. And we're going to take a trail sled with an almost 60-year-old guy on it and go enter in Pro 55 Extreme at Heydays. And we had an adventure, I can tell you that.
That's awesome. Well, good work, man. You're doing. I'm not quite 60 yet. I've got a couple years, but I'm getting there. But you're doing us all proud. Whenever I start to think, am I too old for this crap? I'll just remember you on that drag strip going. So we didn't get actually to the grass track this year. It was one of those things we talked about. We wanted to go. Last year, Skidoo gave us yellow wristbands, and I thought they were just decoration, and it actually got us into the back behind the scenes type part of it, and we blew that opportunity. And then this year I said, we're going to do it. And
Pissed rain.
It pissed. Yeah. Were you racing in that rain?
One of our qualifying sessions got rained out. We normally have 2 qualifying sessions on Saturday. We ran our one in the morning, but the second one got rained out. So we didn't get as many pre-runs as we would have liked to because of the rain.
Yeah. It was Hurricane Dave there with you?
He was going to be. We had him, and I had him on standby on the phone in case we had to make some tuning adjustments, because that's what I do. Dave and I are pretty close.
Yeah, I know you were, and that's the reason I'm asking you, because when we were waiting in line, I swear to God, Dave was in the passenger seat of a pickup truck right there. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. Bang on the window or anything, because it obviously wasn't him. But
he was actually asphalt racing at an IHRA event that weekend in the States. So.
Okay, so definitely wasn't him. Redneck's Dirty Hands says Pinner and Grinner, Mike. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, they've got some pretty fast stuff, the Rednecks guys, and we don't like to make too many claims, because as soon as you claim something, people start calling you on it, right?
Yeah.
But we have a sneaking suspicion that the farm sled that we ran at Heydays and been racing for 2 or 3 years now is probably the quickest trailable sled in Western Canada.
Really?
We've got some results to back that up. We can talk about the Heydays results. It's undefeated in 2 years in King of the Trail type stuff out in the West here. So we feel pretty good about it. But every time you line up, you just don't know who's going to be there and what could come. So you just never know.
Yeah, sweet. You're lighting up the chat here. Now, Tim Weiss has some experience with racing sleds and asphalt. So not himself on the seat. Well, maybe he does, but I know he's worked on the sleds a lot. He wants to know if you run NA or turbo.
Turbo. The sled that we run, and there'll be pictures of it there. There was a picture, that one that you used actually in the opening graphic there. If you want to bring up something like that, there's a couple of similar pictures in what I sent you. That the sled that we ran there is a 2017 Arctic Cat King Cat. That's actually it there in the foreground, number 403. Yep. So it's a King Cat 162 original mountain sled. I converted it to 159 R-rated speed track. You couldn't run the factory 3-inch paddle track on that. First of all, you'd have no traction, and second of all, that track would pretty much blow up on the first pass. It just couldn't take the power. But right there, we're parked next to the Farmall sled that we ran with side by side with that sled in our test pass that we ran on Friday at Heydays. It's, I think, a 6-time winner of Pro 55 Extreme at Heydays. That team, that and their other sled, that one there ended up winning again. So it was kind of a treat to run against the fastest in the world guys, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we got some looks, I can tell you that. When we're in the staging lanes and going through, I mean, there's that Farmall sled, and I would guess the build cost on that in Canadian dollars, I don't know, 250 grand probably.
Holy cow.
Sled like that. And here we are on a sled that could be ridden on the trails without much adjustment. And so people were pretty nice about it, but we did get some looks in the staging lanes, I can tell you that.
Well, actually, you can tell if you look at those two sleds, they're different, totally different animals. Like you said, you could fool me and say that was a trail sled in the foreground. But how cool is the racing name Farmall? When you think of Farmall tractors, they, that is wicked.
Well, and it's funny because with our sled, I mean, when I built that sled, it picked up the nickname Farm Sled pretty quick. I'm always kind of been a fan of the original Street Outlaws and farm truck with the orange heavy truck, the sleeper truck that goes and blows away the Ferraris and stuff on the street. Um, well, it just so happens that my area code here is 403 and not 405, like the boys
Yep.
in the Street Outlaws from Oklahoma City. And it's a big old heavy sled that's with an old guy driving it that's way faster than it looks. So we gave it the number 403 instead of 405, and it got nicknamed the farm sled, and it's kind of stuck now for about 3 years. So that's kind of where the name farm sled came from. So it was kind of neat that the farm sled was running against Farmall, and in our first elimination pass, we ran against the Dirty Alice, which is a reference to Alice Chalmers'
Nice.
farm equipment too. So there was a whole farm theme going on for us there at Heydays.
Is that because it's Heydays they typically go with the farm theme, or is it just coincidence?
Total coincidence, yeah.
That's wild. You know what? You might have got yourself in a little bit of heat there.
Oh, I could tell. I knew as soon as I said something.
Yeah. Redneck's Dirty Hand says, I smell a race coming on, eh? I think Pete's gonna let you guys catch up this year, though. I think they're focusing on the vintage and the trail stuff, so he's.
Well, I know they're a good-natured sort over there at Redneck's Dirty Hands, so I could poke a little fun at them and say that I watched their video about Grass Dragon, and I think they need to up their game a little bit, and then we'll chat.
Yeah.
Just a friendly poke there.
I think you let them lead, and that way you can pick up all their empties as they're blowing down the track, and you'll get free beer.
I'd be okay with that.
There's a method to this, all right? Yeah, so.
You got to pay for race fuel and belts somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He says Family Day, February 15th at Benoit Lake. So there you go. He's actually giving you the time after school to meet him out in the parking lot after recess.
Yeah, it's only about a 4-day drive. I don't know if I'll make it.
Yeah, that's right. That's crazy. Now, in your bio that I was actually pulled for this, it said you'd get into vintage as well. Do you?
I have.
Yeah?
In the past. A few years ago, I'm going to say 10 years ago, I used to, at one time I helped out with a race association here in Western Canada, Straight Line Snowmobile Racing Association, or SSRA. And we came up with a class. We wanted to have a class that would bring more people with older sleds in, very cost effective, low cost to enter, that sort of thing. So we came up with what we called the classic super sport class. And so it was machines that were 1995 and older. So think like XLTs and, old Mach 1s, formulas, stuff like that from Ski-Doo. Arctic Cat stuff like a big twin, like a Wildcat, stuff like that. So we started a race class like that. It turned out to be very popular because there's all these sleds that are sitting around that were kind of hot rod trail sleds back in the day, and people haven't really been using them because they'll kill your back now when you try and ride them. We didn't realize how bad it was then until you ride a new sled now and go back to an old one. But but it became a very popular class. So to help support the class, I actually built 3 or 4 old sleds, and I had an XLT and an XCR and a Storm and an Indy 650, and we brought them out to all the races and to up the entries and help people out and that sort of thing. My wife rode one. She won a points championship riding on a white 95 XCR 600. So it was it's a lot of fun. It's probably, I mean, the speed's not there. It's not kind of like riding a farm sled, but really super fun class to compete in. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lepoinski says all the fun sleds you had, and that's no lie. Like those were serious contenders, right?
Yeah, and way easier to work on. Like if I had to replace a piston and rings on an old Polaris triple, I'm to the point where I could do that now in, I don't know, a couple 3 hours probably. Well, on the new fuel injected turbo 4 strokes, 3 hours you're barely getting the body panels off. it's, it's a different kettle of fish. Yeah, Drew.
You want to do a roll call
I think
while
you
we
should
got
do it
this
this
going
time.
here? You want me to do it?
Yeah, you do
Come on,
it.
Drew, you got them all straightened out. You go ahead.
No, he's got to do it now.
What? He's feeding me to the dogs here.
Click up there. Yep, there you go.
There we go. We got Ron Kessler was the first in the house. Uncle Buck, and Uncle Buck posted some great pictures. He'd been in Quebec there last week. Hit the Devil's Mountain lookout and everything. It looked like he rode a bicycle on a loft, a lodge. He's having all the fun. All-terrain TVs there. Tim Weiss, Michael DeJulio, Redneck Sturdy Hands, the Point Skate 100R, DP Rocks, which is this dude, Olive Gardenode, Renegade X850, William McCleary, Brian Lynn from Slush Lake. That sled's working out like a mint, Brian. Thank you for helping us pick that out. Chris Watson, Tim Druin, and Jay Darren, and Just Fly Low, just to start the...
It wasn't in the list, but also IJU88. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the only one that you missed.
Yeah, cool. That's perfect. And that roll call is brought to you by... Tired of dealing with worn-out carbides and scratchers that just won't scratch your itch? You deserve better. It's time to upgrade your ride with Quali Pieces. Quali Pieces is the leader in specialized snowmobile accessories, bringing you innovative products that solve the everyday problems we all face on the trails. From their durable, long-lasting carbides, Trailblazer ice scratchers, to their ingenious roller ski, Quali Pieces has redefined quality and performance. Have a taste of their specialized carbides at qualipieces.com and take your snowmobile to the next level. There we go. That's fan photos. So that's brought
Not
to you
fan
by
photos,
there. But
roll call.
Yeah, we're not. That's the roll call. But the fan photos Drew's still working on with those last minute entries you sent in, and we'll get to those in a second. But yeah, Uncle Buck said it wasn't a bike; it was a tricycle, Gary. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so cool. So what do you have planned for this winter and summer as far as your racing goes?
Well, as far as racing goes, we're kind of in the middle of the season right now. I sponsor a race circuit in Western Canada with the Qu'Appelle Valley Racing Association. Title sponsor of that, so it's the QVRA Maxceleration Racing Snow Drag Series here in Western Canada. We've had 2 events so far. Got another one coming up this weekend in Russell, Manitoba, and the final one will be a couple weeks later in Indian Head, Saskatchewan, just east of Regina in Saskatchewan. So I've got some snow dragging to do there, and there's a few other races that are popping up on the radar that we'll see if we can get to. Business has been pretty busy, so it's work getting in the way of racing. Imagine.
Always does, right?
It's a terrible thing.
So what do you do for work as far as explain to people the business part of your sickness?
Yeah, a lot of performance parts, and this year, I mean, January, February are the months, right? So the phone is. I apologize to people that may have not have been able to get a hold of me here in the last week or two, but the phone's ringing off the hook, supplying race traction products. We don't get into the trail traction products as much. There's a lot of good people, just like your sponsor, Fast Track, that do an excellent job of providing quality products for people use on the trail. We specialize in snow drag traction products, so it's a bit of a different kettle of fish. And Mondays, like today, was a great example. Monday morning, the phone lights up. Hey, I broke this on the weekend. I need that. Or, I need better traction. I lost. My buddy beat me. And we've got a race coming up next weekend. Can you get me this by Thursday? So
Wicked.
a lot of that going on right now this time of year. Quite busy. Yeah.
Very cool. We're going to see some of your products too as we come in. And on that, there's been a couple questions here. Tim wants to know, what's your favorite track length for drag racing?
In terms of the track on the sled, it's kind of all over. It depends on the sled. A big heavy sled, like the farm sled, 159. It's the longest R-rated track you can get, for sure. And it almost needs to be that long. We saw the picture of it there a minute or two ago. It looks like a stock sled. It's stock cowling, stock bars, stock headlights, stock seat, stock tank. It makes well north of 500 horsepower.
Love it.
So yeah, the extra track out back comes in handy. But on a lighter sled, certainly shorter tracks are up there. I don't usually race anything shorter than like a 136, 137. 144, 146 is very popular in some of the lighter sleds, pro stock sleds, that sort of thing. My stock turbo sled that I race is a 137 SRX.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then All Terrain TV has questions about studs, lug height, R-tracks, and suspension for ice drags. And he wants to know studs versus picks versus chisels for ice. He think he'll just run carbide studs because he still rides trails now and then. What are your thoughts?
If it's on ice, stick with a carbide stud. We'll see a picture come up. That last picture I sent you is kind of an example of a more of a snow drag stud, but that's not the hot ticket for ice. On ice, when you have the harder the surface, the harder it is to penetrate and get traction. So on pure ice, you're going to go with either a carbide-based stud or a narrow, flat-based chisel point sort of thing. This is not what you want on ice. It looks really cool, but this would float on ice because those chisels they're razor sharp. That was what I was working on in the shop 5 minutes before we started the video. So I might be still bleeding here on my hand somewhere. But, that's a setup I'm doing for a customer. Those particular ones are 1/2 inch wide, aluminum chisels, and great on snow. Absolutely fantastic on snow, penetrating the hard snow, and the wider chisel gives you just more thrusting surface. Gives you like 3 times the thrusting surface of a standard chisel. So in a drag race situation, it's the hot ticket, but not for ice.
Yeah,
ice,
yeah.
You need more penetration on ice. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. It's it actually acts as a paddle to some degree, but you run them a lot longer than your lug length, right? Like for my fast tracks on a trail, it's only like 1/16 or 1/8 inch taller than the lug itself. But when you look at your setup, they're quite a bit taller. Like, what's your rule of thumb on that?
3/4 inch over lug height.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot.
Most places that's the rule. That's the max that they'll allow by the rules. And of course with racers, we like maxing things out. So 3/4 inch over lug height is pretty much the standard when you're talking snow drag racing.
Very cool. And he also asks, All Terrain says, have you ever had any issues with rail extensions? I'll run stock suspension, but I want to add a 136 or something longer on my mock, but I'm only making 130 horsepower.
No problem. I've run track extensions on a 130 horsepower is a lot. I mean, we look at some of those we talk about some of those classic sleds we were talking about. I mean, an XLT a really good one made 90 horsepower from the factory. You pipe it and everything, you get it up to 120. So 130 in that realm is good power. And it is. I mean, you can hurt yourself on 130 horsepower, absolutely. but yeah, you're not going to bend rail extensions with 130 horsepower. With 500 horsepower, you can bend the rails. The rails will bend. They're reinforced on my sled, just because you're pulling that much and more weight too.
Yeah. You're talking about the driver being more weight though, right?
Well, and the sled, yeah.
It's force weight,
fact,
not weight.
Of every sled in every class that was entered at Hades, I was the heaviest sled rider combination in the whole of it at Hades.
Wow.
There was not a sled or rider combination that was heavier than us. We came across kind of a funny story. When you come, part of the rules is a certain minimum weight you have to make. And in Pro 55, it's 750 pounds on a turbo sled. The sled and rider has to weigh a combined minimum of 750, which is actually still pretty heavy.
Yeah, that's like thinking about how much a stock sled weighs. That's a lot of weight still.
Yeah.
You can't do any weight reduction to these sleds then, really. Like, not a lot.
So if you look at it, some of those high dollar builds, they've actually got weight added to it. Because
like ballast,
and rider came in a little bit less. So they want to get right on that minimum weight to be the most competitive, because it's a power to weight sort of game when you're drag racing. And so if you look close at them, you'll see where there's weight added on the running boards of some of them to get there. We didn't have that problem. It's funny because every time you come back and you make a pass, whether it be qualifying or whatever, you have to go across the scales to make sure your weights, even in qualifying, because maybe you had a great qualifying time, but if you didn't make weight, that qualifying pass isn't going to be let to run. So went and did our first pass and came back. We go across the scales right in the return lane as you come back to the starting line. And there's a couple fellows working there. There's a fellow sitting at a table reading the scale as you drive across it, and another guy sort of, making sure the sled gets all the way on, kind of herding it up there, making sure things work. So I drove up onto the scale and I turned the sled off, and I look over at the guy that's reading the board. He's looking at his machine like this, and he looks up at me. He's looking down at me, and he looks up at me, and it's just not computing. There's something wrong. There's this look on his face, right? And so they were thinking I was underweight. So the guy that was helping him with the scale says, well, hang on, he's kind of hung up here. You might not be getting the actual true weight, because, it's being supported. And the guy looking at the machine says, that is not the problem. I got him at 950 pounds already.
Holy!
And it was hanging up off the scale. I was 200 pounds over the minimum weight. And they just laughed at each other. I said, hey, guys, it is what it is. They let me go. And it was funny. The next time I came and rolled across the scales, they didn't even get me to turn it off. I slowed down a little bit and did the formal thing across the scale, and that was about it. It was, and actually at a race last weekend, they had a scale set up there. I must have eaten more since the fall, or I had more fueling. So I was 970 going across the scale last Saturday at a snow drag race. And we still won King of the Trail. So that was kind
amazing.
Right on.
Yeah,
you think that 900 is a lot of weight though, but when you think of 500 horse, like that's like a Honda Civic, with 500 horsepower in it, it's gonna rock.
I think what all we realize is you have 200 pounds, so I think you need to go contact Carbon Sled or someone to make you some lightweight hood and pieces like that.
Yeah, well,
you're a little...
I go about 285 geared up, so the rider could be part of the problem there.
Yeah.
my friends bug me. They call me half-ton racing.
That's awesome. TV Vice says, do you ride cat only, or does it depend on the surface you're racing on?
All my personal sleds right now are Yamaha or cat. And actually, there's a photo I sent you there beside a trailer with 4 sleds.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you can pull that up.
Yep. I got it. Hold on. 4 sleds.
We will get to the fan photos.
Right here. Oh, this must... Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was actually at a test session. That's at a farm. A good buddy of mine, Dwayne Hines, that's his farm up near Wetaskiwin in Alberta. And we were doing a little bit of testing before the season started. And that's the farm where the farm sled got its name of being farm sled, because we ran around out in his pasture and herded up some cows and stuff. But so if you look at those sleds, the first one, that's a 2023 Sidewinder, LTX, that's my wife's sled, Trail Rider. Then there's a farm sled. Then the Turbo SRX, set up as a stock race sled, stock engine trim. And then the one back closest to the trailer, that's an MTX 153, the improved stock turbo. It makes in the neighborhood of 400 horsepower, that one. So right in there.
Right on.
Insane.
Yeah, but there's a good shot. You can see that the actual your race sled's not much lower than the trail sled.
No, that Procross chassis that's used on the Yamahas and the Arctic Cats, it sits pretty low to start with. If you were to look really close at the farm sled, I mean, it's slammed down as much as you can, but the longer track Procross sleds, like that 162 chassis and the 159, you can't really, or the 153, you can't really see it in the background. They've got an elongated chain case on them. A lot of people don't realize that the chain case on those sleds is about 1.1 longer, which is a pretty big drop. And when you start dropping them down, those drivers in the bottom of that chain case gets really close to the snow compared to the shorter track sleds. So it makes for great approach angles. They make for great race sleds because that's something that we used to do back in the day. Drop and roll a chain case, get you more speed, less friction.
You saw that with those ice racing guys. They all tilt the chain cases on their side. Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
100 horsepower. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So in that picture there, you got 5.9, 300 or so for the SRX. That's 1,200 and then 200 bucks. So in the neighborhood of 1,500 horsepower sitting beside the trailer there.
Right.
Amazing.
On. Your wife rides a boosted performance sled modified.
The freaking.
What'd you say it was?
The first one is hers. That's she had a different sled, and actually the last time I talked to you guys a couple of years ago, she was riding an F7 and racing an F7.
I remember that.
And we went trail riding, and the F7 doesn't have electric start or reverse, and that was kind of bugging her. We'd be out in the middle of the bush somewhere, and if she stopped it and I wasn't around, she's just a wee little tiny thing, and she's like 120 pounds soaking wet, and she would have trouble starting it. So she wanted something that was easy to drive and had electric start and reverse. So why not a Sidewinder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying, I didn't know the F7s didn't have reverse on the.
Yeah, the 2003s did they? It wasn't.
If you had anything with the Diamond Drive, didn't have reverse. And the 2000s, I think in 2004 it was an option, but most F7s are no reverse.
Yeah.
Lightweight.
And you want the 2003. Those are the fast ones, and without the Diamond Drive, you can do a lot with them.
You can make them all fast. It's easier with the ones with the chain case.
Yeah.
The Diamond Drive was different because the gearing was different in them.
Yeah.
But if you knew what to do with the gearing, then Bob's your uncle. You're off for the races. Yeah.
Yeah. Sunset Trail Rider says, I see some wicked looking sleds. Yeah.
There could be some real wicked looking sleds if Arctic Cat would just release another 4-stroke for this guy.
Yeah, what do you think of? I was going to ask him.
There was I don't even know if it was legit, but earlier this week there was potential that there's leaked patents for Arctic Cat 4-strokes in the Catalyst chassit.
In a wider.
I listened to your show when I was driving back. It was an 8-hour drive from Regina coming home on Sunday, so I listened to you while we were driving along with the show you had with the fellow from Arctic Cat.
Yep, Troy, he's awesome. He's awesome.
And he's pretty good about not letting out information that he's not supposed to let out. I mean, it was a very informative show. I really enjoyed listening to it. But when the question came up of whether there was going to be 4-strokes in Cat's future, he didn't expand on it, but yes was the answer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
I think that's really cool.
the Catalyst is going to be a wicked sled if we could get a turbo 4-stroke back in it.
And so Ryan from Snow West that was going to come on tonight, I really want to talk to him because I've been listening to his podcast. He's more focused on the mountain stuff.
It's all mountain stuff.
But he's taught
not more focused.
He had SSI on. Is that what it is? The performance company?
VDX SSI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they take a Catalyst 600 and they put a 900 kit on it. And you can't do it with the 858. It's got to be the 600 catalyst because the block's different, he said. And they are pulling some crazy dyno numbers with it. And then they even throw an Ibex turbo on it. And they said with the 900 kit alone, it performs the way a 9R should perform. Like you can't even compare it to the Polaris 9R or anything else out there, you know, like.
Yeah, it's making like 165 or 170 horse NA on a 2-stroke, which is pretty amazing.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, but
so yeah, it's what do you want to see from Cat?
Well, you know, I'm a flatland racer, so you know, a big turbo 4-stroke that leaves a whole bunch of horsepower on the table for me to add back in. That would make life really interesting for me. Yeah.
Nice. I hope you get your wish.
I think they should come out right at 200 exactly, just so they have the most power out of the 4-strokes available, so it beats Dew in the factory market, but then leave them severely undertuned and give us some breathing room. Don't lock the ECUs down like Skidoo did.
Yeah, well, see, it's funny you mentioned Skidoo. Yeah, of course, I've been talking to my good friend Dave at Hurricane Performance a lot. You know, I share some space with him and help him out with his booth at the Toronto Snow Show. Have for 3 years in a row now. And then he comes out and helps out with my booth in the West here in Saskatoon. So we got a pretty good working relationship. And the big thing that we were talking about this year that he's been testing is those tunes on that turbo comp package.
Yeah.
All the Skidoo and the links that have the water meth injection. And I've seen the dyno charts. I helped them out with printing up the dyno charts so that we could share it with the rest of the world. And stock muffler, stock parts, we're talking 270 horse out of that comp R.
Yeah, and that's that's
God.
Like I can't even imagine.
Good God, on a 2-stroke.
We rode Corey Brock's last year. It was a really cool day and straight line on the railway track. And
I don't need to have a serious track put on that sled. Like I know the comp Skidoo, because that 9-tooth driver is limited what tracks can put on. At least with the links, you got that 8-tooth, so you can at least run like a Hurricane 175 or a Camso X2 backcountry. But like the track speed must be ridiculous at 270 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's and the dyno graph. He's got 3 levels of tunes that we're working on, like a 220, a 240, and a 270. The 240. When I look at it, that's probably going to be my favorite of the 3. The torque and the power curve is so broad on that 240 tune that it's easy to clutch. You won't have to worry about, you know, fine tuning it, because when you take a sled, any sled, whether it be, you know, you take a stock sled and you really tune the max out of it, or in the drag race world that, you know, I tend to ride in the most often, the more you get to the edge of, you know, pushing the envelope on it, things get a little bit more finicky type of thing. Yeah. So at over 500 horsepower on that sled that made 200 horsepower stock, it likes to be bang on its tune. You know, the tuning window isn't very wide. On that 240 tune for the turbo comp, the tuning window is wide.
Right on.
That is a ride it, race it, go have some fun. I'm super excited about it. So yeah.
Is there any reliability concerns people should have if they're doing like a 270 tune on their 850 turbo comp? Are they pretty robust? Are they going to handle it?
They're pretty robust, and I mean, only time is going to be able to tell, because it's never been done before, right?
Yeah.
So you really don't know until there's real world. But I believe I was talking to Dave yesterday, and I think we're up over 60
currently looking for turbos.
beta testers right now, people that have the tunes in their sled, and we haven't heard of an engine failure yet. So if 60 people are riding it and we haven't blown up an engine, I think we're on the right track.
That's pretty good. Yeah. If he has an 850 comp turbo R that he wants me to try and blow up for him, just have him drop it off. I'm not that far away from him.
And now I'm in the market for a Lynx Turbo. If anybody has a GLS or a 26 with some kilometers on it, the fact that they can just flash those things with a stock muffler, pretty much just maybe some clutching work, but you get 240 horsepower two-stroke. That is.
I did hear
excellent.
that, and I don't know whether it was from Hurricane Dave or from Peffy, but they were saying about the Skidoo 900 that it's a lot beefier of cylinder walls and stuff, so you can actually push the limits on the Skidoo 900 than you could a 1098 Yamaha or Arctic Cat.
Yeah, now there's some differences there. If you take like because we do tunes for 900 Ace 900R Ski-Doo sleds as well, and they're robust. I mean, the engines, the mechanical build of the engine is good, but Ski-Doo left a lot more on the table that, in terms of intercooling and exhaust that need to be addressed. So on a kind of a dollar per horsepower basis, it's way easier to make big horsepower numbers on the 998 Yamaha Arctic Cat platform than it is on the 900 platform from Ski-Doo. It costs more on the Ski-Doo just because there's more involved in getting there. There's more parts needed. The tuning's different. It's a whole different package.
Yep.
So if people are really, and we can make fast Ski-Doos. I mean, I race against guys with fast Ski-Doos. We've tuned fast Ski-Doos. No knocking on the brand or the sled or the engine at all. But if you really want to go bang for your buck, start building a 998 Turbo.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right on. Tim's a Cat and Yamaha guy. He's done a lot of work on Sidewinders and Arctic Cat 998s, and he says this is a very true statement. Drew and I had a little chat on the trail on the weekend, and we were talking about the turbo glowing on the Ski-Doos, and he heard that they don't glow like that on the Yamahas and Cats. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I do know that on the Ski-Doos, partially because of the packaging and the airflow, it's a little bit tighter under the hood, that there are concerns with, you have to be careful with the exhaust systems in general and keeping the heat down. On the Procross platform from Yamaha and Arctic Cat, there's just more real estate in there, and it keeps things a little bit cooler. So that's one of the differences between the 998 package and the 900 package from Ski-Doo, and also the turbos do run hotter on the Ski-Doos, and to make the good power, that's why you need a big. It's really important to have a larger intercooler on the Ski-Doos. On the Arctic Cat and Yamaha platform, you can get away with making power and do longer pulls without having extra intercooling. It always helps, but you can get away with way more on the stock intercooler than on those than you can with the Ski-Doo.
And our buddy Bam Custom says, tell me about it.
Yeah, Brappers TV says lack of airflow on the exhaust side, and Bam Customs says, tell me about it. He likes trailside campfires, if you know what I mean.
He's had two trailside campfires with 900 Turbo Rs, so yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and if you look at, and that's a bit of the packaging and engineering from Ski-Doo. I mean, they do a really nice job, the fit and finish and the panels and everything. It's really, really nice. It's also really, really tight. Mm-hmm. In one of the forms of racing that I support and have a fellow competing in is Cane's Quest. That's coming up again this year, every 2 years. And one of the pictures I sent you was some wheels, and they kind of had some writing and stuff on it. I think I sent you a few pictures from Cane's Quest 2 years ago.
Yeah, we'll get into the photos real soon, but yeah.
But there is a, I think there's either, I can't remember, I could be fact checked on this. There was at least two, but maybe 3 Ski-Doos that burned to the ground during Cane's Quest last time around. It was at least 2. I can't remember. It might have been 3. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's It's sad.
I mean, Cane's Quest, nothing punishes a sled like Cane's Quest.
No. That's the ultimate test. I was following, I don't get too far deep down the rabbit hole on Facebook and stuff. But I did see people, I think Skidoo had made a post about who's excited about the 27s coming out and what do you want to see? And one of the comments that caught my eye was, can they come out with the 850 Comp Turbo R 2-stroke without meth injection? Do you think the meth injection on the 850 Comp R is a negative, or does that help a guy like you and Hurricane Dave get more power out of it?
Very positive. It helps. And to answer that question, I wish they would come out with an 850 turbo that doesn't have that. Well, they do. They have it. The mountain sleds are 850 turbo Rs.
Same exact engine.
Injection. And some of the crossovers, I think.
No, the backcountry XRS and with the turbo is meth injected. It's the same as the Comp and the Lynx Rave. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and the X-Train is the same as well.
What would be different about the mountain?
Years that the mountain sleds 850 turbo R, no injection, because they're set up a little bit differently. They're set up to make power at altitude.
Yeah.
So the turbo on those sleds basically starts compensating for your lack of air pressure, your lack of oxygen as you go up in altitude. The turbo Comp with the injection, that's a flatlander sled, a trail sled. That's designed for making power down at or close to sea level.
Yeah.
And it doesn't use it all the time. Like it's not running out of there all the time. It's when it needs it, it uses it. And so as tuners, we can tap into that and help fight detonation and up boost levels and that sort of thing to make the engine happy and run safe. And that's why I think we've had such good luck so far with engine durability, because if an engine's happy, if it's burning properly, and if it's not detonating and everything, they tend to last. If it's popping and banging or getting some detonation that you don't always hear by your ear, if that engine's not happy, that's when motors start coming apart.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I remember when the Comp Turbo first came out and, everybody's laughing. It's like, oh, it's one more thing to put in. I thought it was a great system because, I know a lot from like car drag racing world and some guys that are running the meth injected turbos even on their cars with water to air intercoolers and stuff, or air to water, whatever they're called. I can't remember the exact term, but when I saw that, I was thinking that's a really good idea because, especially in the mountain too, you have like snow coming over the hood constantly. There's constantly some sort of form of extra cooling, but like there's nothing harder on a machine than a guy doing a freaking rail line blast in low snow conditions with a small track on it, right? It is kind of a completely different world that they're being ran in. And I think that also for you guys tuning these things, it's amazing because you can...
I kind of see it going the other way and not taking that off of the Ski-Doo sleds. But if I were to take a wild guess, I think there's some mountain guys that would like it. The mountain riding, if you're riding in the real steep and the real deep, they are not on the throttle just some of the time. I mean, they'll go for insane amounts of time at full throttle as they're climbing the mountains and working it hard in the deep powder snow. I think it could be a real advantage as to add power in those situations. It's like if you had 10 or 12 inches of fresh powder running across a 20-mile lake and you're going to go wide open for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's that style of riding. So Polaris and Ski-Doo, they address that turbo situation a little bit differently. But from my standpoint as a performance provider, love the injection because now we can tap into that and ask for more injection as we up the boost and change the fuel and the timing parameters on the engine to get even more out of it. It's like the old triples I mentioned. Back in the early 90s, they were cool motors, but bless their hearts, the factory left a lot of chicken on the bone back there. There was lots to be had. We're kind of looking at that and licking our chops with the injected sleds from Ski-Doo as well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was just curious about that because I anybody you talk to like Jinxie and Corey Brock and stuff, they always say they hardly use any meth. So
in cold weather, like Corey Jinks did a run up in Cochrane the first year he had the comp turbo, thinking he was going to use, on the rail lines up there, the long straight trails, he was going to be using tons of the meth stuff. And it was like the end of the day, he looked and it was like, 3/4 full. And he's like, what? And he had you remember how much, I remember when he sold that sled at the end of that year, because he only had it for 1 year, then he bought another one the next year. He had cases of the ice because he bought it all when he got the sled thinking he was going to go through it like a horse drinking water, right? Yeah. So I don't know. It's cool.
And that's one thing too. Like when you're trail riding, how, other than maybe going across a lake, how often are you actually, and how long are you full throttle on the trail?
Oh, Jinxie would be.
I know there's people who are. Safety
you underestimate Corey Jinks.
Yeah,
I've rode with him.
I've rode with him. Jinxie. No, he's. I know. We know what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. You're not holding it to the bar like a mountain sledder where they're trying to go up a chute. They're on the bar the whole time. So, Frappers TV, welcome aboard, buddy. I haven't seen you in the chat in a few weeks or for a while. He says he ran meth on his BMW track for 5 years. It definitely kept the turbo cooler. Performance was more or less negligible. You would probably see the same results from spraying water on the intercooler.
When you have the injection, if all you do is just add the injection, yeah, it will keep it cooler, but you're not really going to see a performance increase. You might actually see a small performance decrease. It's a tool to help you make more. So if you're adding more boost, if you're adding more timing, if you're getting more power out of it, now you use that cooling to cool it back down. So just the addition, and basically it's a water injection. I mean, the methanol's in there to keep it from freezing. But adding the cooling, the liquid itself doesn't add the power. It's what it allows you to do with other things and keep that under control that adds the power.
Yeah, Michael DeJulio says he uses no meth in his 850.
Which actually we heard that in the later ones. The first year people were saying that they were sucking back the tanks, but I've heard more positive things from the 25 and 26s that they don't even use as much as the first years of them. So they have that system really dialed in. So it's really good also for you guys tuning these things. So very cool.
It takes some dialing in. In the first iterations of the 272 on the Comp R, I mean, we were draining the meth tank in like 2 minutes.
That's pretty amazing.
But we've got that down now, and it's refined so that you can go all day on the trail and do what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're lighting up the chat here. IJU88 says, I have meth. I have math. 2 + 2. I have meth on one of my Sidewinder performances. On one of my Sidewinders, he said performance is negligible, but it keeps the power longer. It keeps intake ice cold.
So it's not about adding performance. It's about keeping the thing ticking along.
Yeah. So for example, if you take like a stock Sidewinder, 998 turbo, it's got the intercooler mounted right in the front, right behind that bumper in the nose area. On a long pull, and I've actually recorded that. As you make more power, that turbo is working harder. Because it's not a real big turbo that are on those sleds. And as you ask for more of it, it starts to get warm. Your intake air temperatures can come up. It's not uncommon on high horsepower Sidewinder, even in a drag race, from when you leave the line to the end, it'll pick up 20 degrees in intake air temperature.
Yeah.
Which results in a loss of performance. And that's why you see people that are either going to be doing long pulls or making huge power on the racetrack, upgrading their intercooler capacity just to keep those intake air temperatures down, because hot air makes less power than cold air. It's just physics.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. All Terrain TV says it's definitely an innovative feature, and it's nice that if you run out, it just goes to a milder tune. I think that is genius. That's cool.
Yep. It's a wonder why they don't have it on the 4-strokes, really. If their turbos are glowing bright red, and you can, if you, I remember so we got a friend of ours, Mike Gulitz, another YouTuber, he's got a 210 horsepower tune on his 900R. And if you go after a long run, and your hands are cold, just walk over to his sled and hold your hands about 6 inches off his side panel, and your hand is on fire.
Like that, though, too.
The Mach was like that too.
Yeah, the Mach
is like that little, because it has just that little vent above the turbo that's probably about the size of this Red Bull can.
Yeah.
And we did some comparison between that 900R, the mock sled, and the 998s. I mean, for the dollars, you can make more absolute horsepower, but you can't underestimate the skis. For example, that Mach Z, it's factory with the launch control on it.
Yeah,
that's
whereas
pretty cool.
the 998 isn't. So if you're racing stock, say your stock class where you can tune it, but in stock you can't add stutter to it because it didn't come with launch control from the factory. So a 220 900R or Mach Z is going to be a handful or better for a 270 tune stock Sidewinder, because with the launch control, if you have equal traction, he's going to get a couple 3 lengths out on you before you have to start running them down.
Yeah.
You can't underestimate the do package.
No, that's right. No, that is sweet that you can pick up a used Mach Z for
like
from
12 grand now.
From 2022
if they have high kilometers on them.
Yeah, and you've got launch control. You know what I mean? It's pretty wild. Like it's as well as all the other creature comforts like smart shocks and everything like that. How does that play into your, like when you're doing performance tunes and stuff on a 4-stroke Skidoo? Do you have to look at the shocks, as far as the smart stiffening shocks up smart shocks, or do you not even worry about that?
Don't even worry about it. Make sure that any changes you make to the ECU handle all the factory systems, but the suspension tuning on the shocks, there are companies out there that'll retune your suspension for people that are concerned with the handling and that sort of thing. But we're kind of power mongers.
Yeah.
Our focus is on the engine. So
yeah. Well, you definitely see, I think, a lot more guys tuning the Sidewinders than you do the do guys typically run them stock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I found that plenty of power. I mean, it can get you into trouble that it can't get you out of no matter what. And I can't imagine. I mean,
through a stock muffler, you're making 270 horse on a tuned Sidewinder. That's more than enough power to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. I didn't get it on video last year, but we ran into a guy at the Drumble Clubhouse, and he had a 310 tune Sidewinder, was it?
It was something ridiculous.
It had there wasn't a piece of rubber visible on the track. It was all studs. And he goes, "You want to take it for a spin?" It was a beautiful sled. And he let me take it for a short rip. And good God, I don't think I've ever ridden something so powerful, but also it really was stable. Like the weight of that thing, I think, was the key that, and I was coming off the Mach, like I left it parked and I got on this one, and just going from that to the Sidewinder just felt like it was like so well planted. And I think
I've ridden a lot of sleds, but that picture we showed, that 2019 SRX I have, Sidewinder SRX, because it's a little different. They lower the suspension a little bit on them from the factory, on a wide ski stance and that. I know the Procross chassis takes some heat from the people out there. Oh, it's old and it's not very sophisticated suspension, that sort of thing. But when you put that turbo 4-stroke in it, if I was going to go riding on the trail systems like you have in Ontario and Quebec, long groomed trails and lakes and stuff, I don't know if there's another sled I'd rather be on. It is an absolutely joy and pleasure to ride, with the stability and more power than you can imagine right on tap. So
yeah. Tim says, he wants to know if you take the springs out and just run the shock.
No. Some of the shock packages are air shocks, so it's a shock spring combo when you have the Fox float. But if it came with the springs, like for example SRX is a coilover spring shock front, I run them as built from the factory.
Yep. What's the lug height of an R track? If you're talking 850 turbo R, I believe it's 1.25 inch on those, is it not?
Well, an R-rated track, it depends on the track. Cancel makes a number R-rated tracks that are designed for racing. If you see a part number from CAMSO, it has the R on the end. That designates it as a racing track. They built it's pretty durable. It's as robust as you can build a snowmobile track. So on snow drag racing on a 159, the most popular track is a 159 Ripsaw, and it's R-rated. It's 1.25 inch lug height. In a snow drag, you can trim them down, but in snow drag racing, you really don't want to go much shorter than 1.25 inch lug height on there. There's a real popular one is the Hacksaw track. It's a 14 wide, and it's a 1-inch lug height, and it's R-rated. There's a number of different R-rated tracks from CAMSO. Not as many as there used to be. They kind of cut back production, and some of them are a little bit hard to find and hard to get, but it is a little bit all over. So there is some selection depending on what the sled is and how you're going to be using it.
Right. Now, how many ply are they generally when there are?
All 2-ply.
They're all 2-ply? Great.
Yeah. That's
cool.
You won't see a 1-ply rated track. Actually, the Snow Outlaw guys, a couple of years ago, there was a big controversy because some of these big powered sleds were running the 174 tracks. 174 is a mountain track.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a single ply, and they're cutting them down and trimming them. And those tracks, if you read an owner's manual for a lot of these long mountain sleds, it says right in there, don't exceed 80 miles an hour on this track, and don't run them on low snow trails because track damage will result.
Yeah.
So even if you cut that paddle down and make it a shorter lug track, it was never designed for 1,000 horsepower, nitro burning, screw charged engine running 150 mile an hour and 500 feet. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah,
so,
you only want to run that once if you do, right?
Yeah, so CAMSO Corporate came out with an edict and said, thou shall not sanction any races using this track. So pretty much the standard you see now, because the longest R-rated track is 159, you'll see a lot of those.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Basically, their bulletin says no one's gonna die on our tracks.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
no one's gonna mangle themselves because they're too stupid to read the owner's manual.
My suspicion is that somebody in CAMSO Corporate Legal got wind of what was going on and said, hey, we got to put out a statement about this. I don't know that that's what happened, but reading between the lines, it's not a stretch to imagine what might have happened at a corporate level.
Yeah, that it got to that level. Yeah, I can believe it.
Someone might even gotten hurt on one. You don't even know.
That's what he's insinuating. So yeah, you want to load up the fan photos, and we'll have a look at some cool pictures you sent in, and lots of photos from the fans. We can get into those.
Cool, do it.
Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction. This season, quit sliding sideways on the ice and losing races to your buddies. A Fast Track stud kit will help you with improved braking and give you the arm-ripping acceleration you crave. I put over 3,000 clicks last season on my Renegade 850, and I'll tell you, these studs exceeded my expectations. Not one broken stud, my idle wheels still look like new, and they hooked up like I was on rails in the twisties, inspiring confidence every ride. Fast Track Top Gun kits are the highest rated stud kit at 4.9 stars with over 230 reviews. The studs are heat treated stainless so they are strong and they don't rust. The kit is lighter, easier on the track, and has a lifetime warranty against breaking. Each kit comes with a track specific template for complete balance with over double the scratch lines from stock templates. All listeners when purchasing a stud kit can get a free install kit, a $30 value. Visit fasttrack.co, add both products to the cart, and use the coupon code SNOW at the checkout. That's fasttrac.co. Right on. There we go. That's awesome. We were just laughing at my old garage
in that promo. He just said, look at my crappy shoes. And I said, look at your crappy garage.
Wait, you don't want to see my shop right now. It's a total disaster. So.
Yeah, with two snowmobile jackets on, probably freezing your nuts off. I studded my track in our new heated shop in a t-shirt this year. Makes a difference.
While you still got this picture on there. Just wanted to point out something like that. Yes, it's virtually a trail rideable sled with full factory suspension. If you look at the back of the tunnel, I left the cargo bag on there.
Yeah.
It has that Arctic Cat accessory cargo holder that you can put a fuel can and stuff, still mounted to the top of the tunnel. Even though I had to do some changes to the tunnel, I put all that stuff back on. And at the back of the tunnel, that's the parachute. There's a line in ISR rules that says all Pro 55 Extreme and Outlaw sleds have to be equipped with a braking parachute. And I didn't know if they were going to enforce it or not, but I wasn't going to drive 22 hours to Heydays and get told I couldn't race because I didn't have a parachute. So yeah, the parachute got added to the sled. So that's kind of another fun thing on the sled is the spring launched parachute off the back. So.
And does it go off every race?
It's activated through a push button switch on the handlebars.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But so you have to use it every race, or you think you have enough clearance to stop? You can.
Oh, usually there's enough places to stop. Some of the smaller events you go to, they're not ready for a sled that can run 130 mile an hour and 500 feet. So if the shutdown's a little short or sketchy, it's kind of nice to have it there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I just threw some pictures of I've got a couple here. 600R that we got there, the yellow one's performing like a champion, like we thought it would. And we threw the B2 Stingers in there. It had LED lights from when we got it, but they were crappy. But as soon as you put them in, you notice a difference. And then the LJE whiteout lights are on the bumper there. And I can't say enough about the LJE whiteout lights. They're awesome. They look amazing. They're super bright, like you can see on the snow. I think they're better than the Skidoo auxiliary light that I've got on the red machine there. They're as good, if not better. I'm going to say better because they're in a better spot than that auxiliary light, and they're on all the time, even with your high beams on. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, and then we had a great ride Saturday with Elder and Mark Brodeker and his son Cole, who's Drew's buddy. Mark's got back into sledding this year with his with that MXZ 600 E-Tech, and Cole brought out the greasy triple 700 VMAX. And I tell you, they put on a clinic. They weren't at all, a liability to the ride. They kept up with the whole group, and away we go. We had a great day. Yep. The snow conditions were awesome. Drew mapped out a little figure 8 that did
couple loops in the area.
Yeah,
yep.
Couple hundred kilometers.
We knocked out 200K, and Elder Santos was with us, a viewer was with us, and he was like, how far have we done so far? And we go, 186. He's like, what? Because we did these 2 loops, and it's like we basically never left within like probably half-hour drive of where we started. But when you do like loops in the area on these local trails, you can just kill so much time and do so many miles. So, and
we did we didn't see the same thing twice, except the one section we went backwards
to go back.
Kind of neat.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat. But man, the trail, the snow conditions right now are unbelievable. I heard up north which we're going there this weekend. I heard up north is like knocking on Quebec's door, is the way Steve put it last week. So yeah, a lot of fun.
Brapper's TV asked, how do you like the 600R? I'm really loving it, actually. I'm super impressed with the power that sled puts out. It's usable horsepower, I think is the best way of describing it. Sometimes the 850s in like the tighter twisty trails, you can find that it kind of can sneak up on you and you get going a little too fast. You start barreling into corners and you're always kind of really hard on the brakes. The 600R I feel super comfortable on. I can throw it around like a motocross bike. And I think for me, in my weight and my height, it's like the perfect sled. It's so much fun. You can balance it up on one ski because it's just a 129, so it's good and light, both front and rear end. And yeah, I'm really loving it so far. It's a good sled for this season.
Put it this way, he gapped the 850 the whole day. Like there is,
as soon as you get in a twist,
as soon as there's a corner,
600. As soon as there's a corner, the 850s you can't keep up. It's just the way it is. Like the 600R is so planted in the corner, it handles so well. I got the Qualipieces Mission carbides on that, and they're just hooking up so good. And then the 136 studs in it definitely helps as well. It just is a monster.
Yeah. I was talking to Phil Gall today, and I told him how much we love the Missions, and And he was happy to hear that. So that's great. That VMAX was awesome. Elder says it sounds amazing. And CBR
That's
says
cool.
nothing.
That's cool.
Cole
That's
Brodiker says nothing beats the 77700.
No.
But yeah, they put the memories back, and we were laughing at the start because he's up on one knee going through snow drifts and stuff. And yeah. Yeah, and Lepoinski says he rode tonight, and the kids were riding behind me, and they said my helmet light was so bright that they were impressed.
That's the LJE.
The LJE helmet lights are amazing as well. So, and this is a picture of the parking lot at the Trail's Edge pub in Plattsville. We stopped there for lunch, so that was really cool. And
I was saying though, in my Facebook or my Instagram post, it said that you were the odd duck in the group because you're the only 850. We had two 600Rs, 700 triple, and a 600 E-Tech. So you were the odd duck out in this. In this group.
But as you can see here, my little marks, I actually got my roller skis back, my skis with the roller skis back on, and
with the new Trek carbides.
The new Trek carbides that are non-drillable, so they fit right in the stock ski holes, and you don't have to drill anything for the tip. They don't have like the snow tracker type front on them, and they're amazing. Very happy. I was steering again, and the fact that I had roller skis to go down the paved road was awesome. So yeah, it's great. And there's a shot of the Drumbo Snowmobile Clubhouse with the Hover Air X1 Pro Max drone, which I'm just
somewhere
loving. Like, it's freaking amazing. It's can't say it enough. I did a video on the test, couple features on it, but I flew it manually today, and I haven't got my Mini 3 Pro out yet this year on the sled. I have no reason to take it now. Now that I've flown it manually too, if there's no wind or very little wind, that Hover Air Pro Max is going to be awesome.
I don't know when you're going to get the video, but I want to see. We did when I first had the 600 out, we did a shot where we tried the tracking on it to see like how it would follow the sled. And it was crazy. It was like going around corn stalks. It was bouncing off trees. It bounced off the sled at one point. It kept going. I want to see the video of that because at one point... And then you
ran it over.
Yeah, and then I ran it over because it ended up hitting a tree branch on the outside of the trail, and then I ran it over, and it's still working good. So
yeah,
it's durable.
Yeah, I picked it up, shook the snow out of it, and blew the snow out of it, and then put it back in my pocket, and then it was ready to go up in the air the next ride. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Love it. Yeah. And then Iron Moose sent me some pictures.
You have a write-up?
And look at this. You see that little symbol in the bottom corner?
You can't because your trees are blocking it.
I know, but you can see it. But he bought a membership last year. He scanned it last week, scanned the QR code, and he bought the Buy More Parts membership level. We'll get some exclusive videos, more to come. And on the anniversary, you get a free shirt from the store and more. So thank you very much, Iron Moose. And we really appreciate the support here. So just, what did he say about this picture? He said, "Hey, Gary and Drew, hope all is well. Sending a few photos we took on Friday, no school. So we went up to in the Christmas Mountain area in New Brunswick and did a 300-kilometer loop. He included a photo with a bridge in the background because I love bridges.
Yep.
LOL. We love bridges.
That's a 900 Turbo X-Train he's got. That's a sweet sled.
Very
146 cool. 900. Oof.
Yeah.
Be a monster.
And look at him using the little emoji there. He says, "Let's go." He's got the moose with the helmet on. Love it.
That 900 Turbo Lynx would be a monster.
IJU says, "Maxceleration dude looks so bored listening to talk about 600 sleds." We actually had, I don't know, was it, who was it? One of the performance guys anyway. Oh, Jason Hool. Is it? What's he own? What's his business? Jason.
Oh, I forget.
He'd kill me if he knew I forgot the name of
What's
the business.
What's the guy's name?
I'm in brain lock. Yeah.
But anyway, we had a big chat about 600 performance sleds, and he said you can get performance on them, but you don't get very much. You do a whole lot, and you get like this, but you take an 850, and you're going like huge.
The other thing, what any of the new sleds, 600 included, it's all relative, right? on a 600 sled, you know, it's going to make 130 horse or better from the factory. That is way more than sleds that are kind of legendary muscle sleds. I mean, an Ultra made 150, an Ultra Triple made 115 or something like that from the factory, and it wasn't near as efficient in the track. So a new 600 sled, like you're riding there, Drew, and I know the Polaris 650, those sleds perform. I mean, they've got more than enough get up and go to want to go. I've seen a lot of them race, and some friends of mine drag race them, and they are not without power and speed.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and Drew's has a PB80 primary clutch on it, and I don't know what's been done on the secondary, but we drag race the 850, and it just snaps. It's there. It just goes. It's there right up to 100, 110 before the 850 starts to claw it back. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's. I was pretty impressed. So you can click through these. So the Christmas Mountains. I'd like to get out to New Brunswick and ride these. It's pretty crazy. Trails are really good.
It's a lot like Quebec looking.
It is very Quebec looking. Yeah. Frappers TV says he'd take the performance decrease for the weight difference. That's a big thing, right?
The first time I picked it up, it was when I was loading up on the sled deck. When we bought the sled, I just had to like shimmy it over a little bit, and I still, with 850 brain, went to go pick it up and hoist it over, and I damn near picked the thing up to my chest because I pulled it up so fast. I was like, whoa. Like, the weight difference is significant enough. Like, even when I go to move his in and out of the garage, like, obviously 129 to 137, but it's like, this thing's a pig compared to the 600.
Well, and that's nothing compared to those turbo four-strokes.
No. I had to move that Mach Z around a few times in our garage or in the trailer, and my word.
Yeah, when we got our pit spot at Heydays, the first spot right next to the pits is number 1.
Yep.
Our number was 104. I was blessed to have a crew because those guys all weekend for 3 days were pushing that sled back and forth about a quarter to a half a mile from the pits back to the trailer and back and forth. And oh my goodness, I just about did them in. Good thing they're good friends.
Bruce Mellenbacher, he sent in this couple pictures from last week. This is based on Steve's show. We talked about the Arctic adventure, and they actually received their certificate when they're in the Arctic, did the Arctic from Canada's Northwest Territory. So that was kind of cool. And he sent me some clearer pictures of Sled Ed, which, because I think we had pulled in, they were very small and blew them up. So that was cool. Drew and I had lots of laughs this week about the Sled Ed and then that explosion talk. And he had mentioned that he watched the best of reel. And he said that, the greatest hits on YouTube. He says 15 minutes of hilarity.
No, 50 minutes. 50 minutes of hilarity.
And he said there's one where the Sled Ed shoveling off the roof of the Sportsman's Lodge and he falls off. And we were laughing our ass off on the comms. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
And what would Michael have to say?
Michael DeJulio, I don't think he had any comments. He just sent me in pics for this week, and showing some of his badass there 900 R right 900. There, or 850 comp turbo R right there. Pretty sweet. Yeah, thanks for sending those. That's the type of trails we're talking about right there. Like, look at that.
He's in New York, isn't he? This guy?
No,
Michael?
he's Canada.
Is he Canada? I thought he was States. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Let us know what area that was you're riding in, Michael. He's in the chat right now.
I thought he was from the States.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see that plate. Can't read the plate.
That is US.
That is a US. Those are US plates on those.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
He's got the wrong jacket.
Yeah.
I know. I made that comment last week. The last time we sent in photos, his buddy's got the wrong jacket.
Is it the wrong jacket or the wrong sled?
Well, I don't want to pick on the sled, so I'm going to pick on the jacket instead.
Yeah.
All-Terrain?
And All-Terrain TV says, hey guys, not much for sleds this week, but I've been helping my neighbor race his 76 Nova. on the ice. It's non-studded class. It's definitely a challenge to be competitive. We're working out the kinks. Broke a leaf spring yesterday, but we'll be back in action soon. You want soft suspension, dirt track style tires, and keep the car leaned over in the corners. If you let off, it upsets the suspension. You go too fast, you'll just start to slide. Every Sunday on Shawano Lake.
Oh my gosh.
That is freaking cool. My buddy in high school, his grandma had that car, and she gave it to him, and it was a 77. Did he say 76? Yeah, I think his was a 77 Nova, and he done the engine up in it, and it was awesome. It wasn't the cool era of the Novas by any means, but it's cool today. Back then, it wasn't cool.
And Denon.
And then Denon says, maybe my favorite area to ride.
I know where this
Kearney.
is. Yep.
He's talking about Kearney. He said the iconic bridge on the D Trail north of the ice caves, and the Pine Trail is C105D west of the D Trail.
I really like this bridge because we've been to this bridge in the summer when it's the ATV trail, and it is just in the middle of the swamp. The bridge is pretty much inaccessible in the summer. It's quite hilarious. People on quads will get up there and get pictures, but it's quite the bog to get out to it because they had to build this here because just where the creek doesn't freeze. But yeah, I just love that bridge.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's just so weird because it's just in the middle of the swamp, right? But
yeah,
this is the picture he's talking about. We know that trail. Yep.
Yeah. When you get into that the Pine Trail area, that C105D, it's amazing riding. Like, look at that. I love it. Yeah, thanks for sending those in, Denon. That's great.
Oh, the huts in Milverton.
Matthew Muschamps, he did a poker run around Milverton today. That was Saturday,
yeah,
I think
he said that's I remember hearing about that one.
He says, trails are mint and the weather was perfect. If only you could have picked better cards. Yeah, Brappers TV goes, I've been there 1,000 times.
Oh, he's a nice cat he's got.
Ron Kessler said he's had both the 137 and 129 in a 600R, and he prefers the 129. Yeah, you'll hear that a lot.
I think unless you're going off trail, the 129 is perfectly fine. Unless you're making a lot of power and need the extra track.
Yeah, for sure. There's Matthew's sled. That's a sexy cat.
We got old Edge XC that was in the back of the poker run there.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
What's Rob Overall got to say about this moto ski?
This is a sweet machine he picked up. He says he just wanted to share this old gem. He picked it up to restore this summer. It's a 1970 moto ski MS 18 335. I'm hoping to bring it back to life. Happy trails. I knew he got this before he sent the photos in because I seen him on the vintage snowmobile group. I
actually
Facebook looking for parts.
The Flower Child decals are mint.
Yeah, I wouldn't change it. I had a line on another Nordic 69 Nordic, and the hood was in really good shape, and it had flame stickers on it from back in the day. And I went, he goes, "Are you going to take those off?" I go, "No, I'm leaving them on."
Can't put a price on that.
But when you lift the hood, it was the exhaust was rotted right out. Everything was rusted solid on it.
Well, that's patina.
Yeah, and it was way beyond patina. The bogies were all rotted right out, like because it was sitting on a gravel floor in a barn for who knows how many years. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, Rob, that's going to be sweet when it's done.
Be a good sled.
And it's solid. Like, look at how that's actually all there, right?
Broken, but there.
Yeah. It just needs a little bit of cleaning up.
Alrighty.
So there we go. Now it's your show there, Mike.
Well, it's our show. How's that?
So what do we got here?
You were just mentioning the 129 versus 137. On a 137 Pro Cross chassis, they come with 8-inch idlers on the back, which is a pretty good size idler historically speaking. But Speed Demon guys, arguably the most powerful production sled ever built. A lot of guys are looking to put bigger idlers on the back, but you can't because of the way the rear scissor stops work. There's a bar that goes across with the scissor stop blocks, and it's really tight to the rear idlers. You can't go any bigger than the 8-inch. So I had lots of questions from guys that wanted to put bigger wheels on. So we sell wheel kits, we sell offset axles. So we engineered a relocation bracket to relocate that crossbar and keep it in the same geometry so it doesn't change your suspension handling or anything, but it gets it out of the way. It moves it forward and moves it down so that you can go up to a 9-inch wheel with the offset axle on the back of the sled. Only people that have it. Got quite a few guys out there using it, love it. Got beat by a racer on the weekend that's running my kit like that on the back.
Oh, that's
so it's out there, it's tried, it's proven. The neat thing about it is there's no drilling required on your rails. It uses all the factory holes and the factory shaft and everything. The factory stops and bolts right into place. It's made with 7075 aircraft grade aluminum. Comes with grade 8 or better bolts to replace all the bolts. So that's kind of one of our own unique products that we engineered for the 137 Pro Cross sleds, Arctic Cat, Yamaha, so they get a little bit bigger wheel on the back.
Oh, pretty cool. Are you a machinist?
It fits all the years. The design is a little different, but it fits all the years from 2019 up to current on the Pro Cross. It's the 137 rails are slightly different on the Catalyst, and we're just working on that now.
Awesome.
Very cool. Are you a machinist? Like, did you CNC this, or do you outsource that?
I outsourced that with this was a project that I did. I came up with a design. I drew it all out. I made it out of wood to start with. Sent it to my guy. He 3D scanned it. We 3D printed the first couple of iterations of it. Made our fine tuning and our adjustments, and from there went into the CNC machining.
Heck
yeah. Yeah. When I first seen that picture, I went, "There's no way that's a 3D printed part," but but you could 3D print the prototype for sure.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot that goes into it to develop that part. It seems like a simple thing, but the hours and development and scanning and printing and building, I don't think a lot of people realize what goes on behind the scenes to make it so that it just bolts onto their sled.
What are you talking about? It's a $2 piece of aluminum. Why are you charging so much? It should be $5.
Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that.
I get that with my 3D prints all the time. It's like, well, you didn't spend like months or years trying to design this thing and testing it and approve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's a bunch of pictures like this. This is the bright aluminum one. Our Maxceleration Racing wheels. That's a 5.5 inch. Used on the rail wheels on a lot of sleds. Right in that, a lot of sleds use that general size for your front rail idlers. Fun fact: it's also the same size as the rear idlers on a 200 mini sled. So we make a kit, and we sell quite a few of them to go on the back of minis. Because who doesn't want their kid's sled to be blinged up a little bit, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, absolutely. Do you run those on can you run them on a trail sled with the because they don't have the rubber, rolling part on it? Or
thank you very much for asking that question. I get that question almost every day. Yes, absolutely, you can run those with studs. Anytime we've seen wheel damage or wheel failure comes down to a stud installation issue. Follow your manufacturer, your whoever manufactured your studs or your stud kit, follow their instructions. There's in the fast track video, there's a little section that shows the inside of the track and the stud heads on there.
Yep.
When you're studding the track, those heads have to be pulled into the rubber on the track. If they're sticking up, and if they're not at least level or sucked into that track a little bit, preferably sucked in a little bit, because they're going to move.
Yeah.
That load comes on. So that stud head's going to move as it gets torqued like that. And if it moves up into the wheels, you hear people having trouble with plastic idlers. You hear people having trouble with rubber idlers of every description. It doesn't matter what kind of idler you got. you're going to have troubles, and it's usually related back if you've got bad stud installation. So
Yeah.
make sure your studs are installed properly.
And Lepoinski says, how many employees do you have, Mike, and what kind of roles do they play in your shop?
It's more partnerships. As far as manning the computer and shipping out the orders, it's myself. I partner with a lot of people. Have racers that work with me and try stuff out and help out. I have great partnerships with machinists from Elevation Design and Machine that does our wide traction products. We work together a lot. I work a lot with, as we were talking about, Dave from Hurricane Performance. Work pretty closely with another Dave. I got a lot of snowmobile high performance Daves in the thing. Is that Dave Forsyth from Tap Clutch? You've probably heard of Tap Clutches.
Yep.
His shop's about 5 hours from mine. I went out and visited him. We actually did some test fitting and some work when he was prototyping the first Tap secondary for Arctic Cat snowmobiles. We used the farm sled as the sled to measure, fit, and put things on there. And one of the pictures that I sent in, kind of from the heydays photos, you can see the 2 Tap clutches, the primary and the secondary. That's the setup that we ran at heydays. That was actually the very first Tap secondary for an Arctic Cat sled on there. So
right on.
So it's about the partnerships that you make. That's just another shot. That shows where that bar is relocated. If you look at the top bolts on that bracket, that's where the original scissor stop location is. And you can see with that big wheel on there, you could never have that bar up in that top bolt hole. It wouldn't fit. So we kept the angle the same so that the geometry is the same, and moved it down and moved it forward. So now you can get a nice big wheel kit in there.
Nice.
Increased top speed, less rolling resistance, and they look really cool.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they look really cool. The I noticed on the one picture showed the inside of that bracket, and it had like kind of a hone out, and I can see now that's for that shaft to sit in.
Yeah, the shaft fits in there, so it fills that spot. And there's kind of and then on this particular one, you can almost kind of see it on that black rail on the back, but there's a little hump cut out of there. That's because on the different model years of those rails, they're all built a little bit different. There's a couple of model changes in there. So we had to design that bracket so that it wasn't a 1 year only thing, and it would work with several different model years and fit them all. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah, Lepoinski says that looks good. It does.
It does look good. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here.
There's the stuff with the...
Yeah.
So you've actually just indicated original cross shaft location, forward scissor stop location. Yeah. So.
Yeah, pretty neat.
Yeah,
those wheels there. We mentioned Kane's Quest.
Yeah.
Nothing beats up a sled like Kane's Quest. I mean, the attrition rate, I think it was less than half of the entries actually finished the race last time. The attrition rate is insane on Kane's Quest. And I get a lot of questions from people that say, billet wheels, the durability, there's all sorts of internet talk out there about the pros and cons of having billet wheels. There was a team that was going to run 2 146-inch sidewinders as their entry in Kane's Quest. My phone rang before the last Kane Quest, so about this time 2 years ago. Gentleman introduced himself, Chris Holmes Jr.
Yep.
He's racing again this year coming up.
Yeah, we had him on the show.
You may have run into him at the Toronto Snow Show.
Yeah.
He said, "What can you do to help us out? I need to add some outer wheels to this. I don't think the plastic ones from the factory are going to hold up. It's a fairly lightweight extruded plastic wheel on the Arctic Cat and Yamaha sleds." So he was the first one, and he ran these. They are the only direct bolt-on billet wheels for the 2019 and up platform on there. They use the same bearing size. They bolt right onto the axle. You can swap them on. The install is easy. Every other aftermarket billet wheel uses their own bearing size. usually a 6205, which will not bolt on to these sleds. So I said, we'll test them. We're going to use them in Cane's Quest. They went and ran them, and you can see where on that bottom one where he autographed it, team number 44 from Cane's Quest.
Yeah.
And they've got the mileage marked on there because they did what, it was over 3,200 kilometers in 4 days or something like that.
Yeah, it's 2,000 miles. Yeah.
And they ran on gravel, dirt, rocks, deep snow, ice on the ocean, every possible type of surface you could run a sled on. That's the wheels at the end of the race.
Yeah, that's
They
wild.
held up amazingly well.
Yeah, still straight.
So when he was
everything.
when he was prepping his team for this year's Cane's Quest, I got a phone call.
Right on.
And they're going to be running a bunch of our stuff again coming up.
Cool. Yeah, he was on the show, and I remember that that he had 2 sidewinders. So as soon as you said the sidewinders, I went, I know exactly who you're talking about. Chris Holmes Jr. is awesome. We've got a couple of Cane's Quest episodes coming up next week and the week after. So hold on to your hats. In 2 weeks, it's if we can pull it off, it's going to be a freaking cool show. Next week's going to be great too.
Just different colors you can get the wheels. And these aren't powder coated. The most common wheels, aftermarket wheels that have colors on them, the billet wheels, the manufacturers have powder coated them, and we sell some of those too. We're a dealer with Trick Toys out of Southern Ontario there.
Yep.
These are a little different. Powder coating is like a heavy paint. You're familiar with the powder coating process. Used a lot on sleds. These are actually anodized. The anodized actually treats. It becomes part of the metal. And do you have any wheels anodized to improve durability? We're just talking about that right now.
Yeah.
And so these are some of the colors that the anodizer I work with is able to do. I have a full set of the blue ones like that on my white sled. You got to have green for the Arctic Cat guys.
Yeah.
There's gold. Gold root's really good. The Ski-Doo guys like the gold ones.
Yeah.
Looks great on the Ski-Doos. And the 2024 SRX guys.
Yes.
With the gold trim. Yeah. The red is sweet. Mini sled with the red wheels on the back.
Perfect. The way that they're machined with such big openings, like a mag wheel kind of thing, does that help with snow clearing out of the track, or is there an advantage for that being so open?
Lower weight.
Okay.
If you take one of these billet wheels and compare it to like a heavy plastic rubber idler, you think, well, the metal's going to be more. It's actually right in the same thing, and in some sizes it's actually less than the rubber or plastic wheel.
Sure.
Because the people that use these the most are the race guys, and the race guys are all about less rotating weight, less mass, less everything. So they've really come on. We sold a lot of them to trail people this year because they look cool, and there's some advantages there too. But basically, it's the lightweight.
Yeah, nice. And what do you recommend for bearings in these?
Well, funny you should ask. It's like you're walking right into it.
Yeah. Well, I assume you just don't stick them on the shaft like that and let them flop around. Or can you?
We sell a lot of standard bearings. A regular type snowmobile bearing is good, but we also have our own line of ceramic hybrid bearings. You may have seen it. We have a display at the snow show where we've got a wheel that with a real high quality bearing. And I didn't want to pick on, a cheap $5 bearing sort of thing and do a comparison to it. So we picked what was supposed to be the best bearing on the market, the NTN Black Ice bearing. You probably heard of them. A little bit more money than the rest of them, but they tout it as the best bearing for snowmobile, lowest friction, highest performance, all that sort of thing. So I've got a display that I use at the snow shows, and it's got 2 wheels like this, and one wheel's got an NTN Black Ice, and the other one's got one of our ceramic hybrid bearings in it. And so people can spin them and see the difference. You spin our high performance bearing and it keeps going, and you can go to the NTN bearing and you have to spin it 3 or 4 times and the other one's still turning.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the rolling resistance. Race guys, it's all about the ceramic hybrid bearings. Lower friction, lower rolling resistance. Fractions of a second are huge. A tenth of a second is a sled length. So fractions of a second count when you're racing. And more high mileage trail guys are getting into it, because if you're putting on a ton of miles and you can lessen the rolling resistance on a groomed trail, it's going to help you with things like fuel economy,
Absolutely.
because your sled's rolling easier, right? So yeah, the bearings.
Should do a set of these.
I have them manufactured, especially for me, Maxceleration Racing. Went to about a dozen manufacturers, gave them the specs that I wanted, and yeah. So what a ceramic hybrid bearing is it's a steel bearing. It's a 52-100 chrome steel with your inner and your outer races. A lot of people ask, well, why not stainless steel? Stainless steel is softer. Yeah, it won't corrode, but stainless steel is not as hard, and it's not as smooth, and it's not as durable as 52-100 chrome steel. So these 52-100 chrome steel in the inner and outer races, but the balls inside the bearing part of the bearing, they are not steel. They are a ceramic material.
Right
and that silicone nitride ceramic is infinitely smoother than steel, and it provides a smoother rolling surface inside, and it doesn't build up heat because of that. Steel, even with lubrication on it, steel eventually starts to wear and pit and everything. That's why engines wear out and suspension parts wear out and everything, because even with lubrication, there's still wear on there. And I've got a page about it on the website that describes everything. But we have the bearings specially manufactured, charge spec, specifically for snowmobile outer wheels.
Yeah, and I think that someone was in the chat the last time you were on saying that with your ceramic bearings, they can actually roll their sled. Like there's the rolling resistance just when it's sitting there, they can just push it and the carriage will roll.
It's noticeable. It's seat of the pants noticeable. The rolling resistance is different.
Highlight that. I'm curious too.
Yeah. If I could ask, would a wheel setup cost? The Lepoinski 800R, like say for a typical trail ski-doo?
It really depends on if you've got like a 3-wheel setup on your axle, a 4-wheel setup, if you're going factory size, if you're going oversize, if you're going to put your front rail wheels on there. You know, a small 5.5-inch wheel starts at about $85. Not super bad, because a factory wheel is probably $40 or $50.
I was thinking that. I want to say Skidoo probably will charge you almost 60 for one of those units. I think they're 59 or something.
You know, so it can be quite reasonable. But if you go, you know, if you make them fancy colors and you put more into it and go with the real high performance bearings, it can add up a little bit. But it's a noticeable improvement in your sled for sure.
Excellent.
So yeah, that
picture there. That's my 153 sled. That's a 9-inch wheel setup with an offset axle, and just sort of a little example of how it looks once you got it installed.
And explain to the people that may not have heard this before what the advantage of that larger rear wheel would be with your track being more level at the top.
Rolling resistance is the big one. If you think about it, I mean, we're out in the snow, it's below zero most of the time when we're snowmobiling, and you've got that big rubber track that's pretty stiff and it's rolling around. And when you take that track, it takes more effort to bend it around a small radius than it does around a larger radius. Okay, so when you go to do that, if it's going around a bigger wheel, the track is way more efficient. That's why you mentioned 2003 Firecap. And one of the things that made them fast is they came with a 10-tooth driver in 2003. So it had this great big driver in the front, less rolling resistance because it was going around. If you take your track and you made it into a perfect circle, which you really couldn't, I don't know how you engineer it, but if you made it into almost like a tire, you have almost no rolling resistance in the track and having that track bend and release and come back. So there's a couple of things there. The other thing is that the bearing and the wheel speed, for every inch or so of increase, you actually decrease the speed of that wheel because it's not having to turn as fast on there. So one of your points of drag is the bearing in the wheel. If that wheel can slow down and not spin as fast at the same track speed, you're increasing efficiency there because you won't have as much drag, because that rotating drag of the wheel increases exponentially with speed. That's why it gets tougher and tougher as you approach over 100 mile an hour to go faster and faster. You almost got to double your horsepower. That's one of the reasons why. And that's the reason. Another reason why, if you think of those front idlers, those small ones, those 5.5-inch ones that are on the front rail of the sled.
Yep.
A lot of people tend to ignore those wheels. They ignore those bearings. They focus on the back. They focus on that rear axle because it's the big one. But your bearings on your front of your skid, those wheels are turning twice as fast because they're only half the size of the wheel on the back. So it's even more important to service those bearings on your small idlers along the front than it is on your back. You get, because they're all drag. They provide nothing into the process. They don't transfer any power. They're only drag on the whole system. So if you can reduce that drag, there's gains to be had there with your front idlers.
Great explanation there. And that's the thing. Brappers TV was thinking the same thing. One of the benefits of oversized, we just heard that. And All Terrain TV wants bigger idlers for his SC1 suspension. Might have to make some of his own offset blocks. He's got a 97 Mach 1.
97 Mach 1 uses 1-inch high rail slots, and the original wheel size was close to around 6.5. Yeah, we can help them out.
Right on. Get a hold of Mike
I get
here.
that question fairly regular.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Got those.
This is the example of the gold.
Yeah, I always thought it would be cool to take that Sidewinder that had the gold and black and make like a Burt Reynolds, the Trans Am flame Phoenix on the hood, and it'd be so cool to do that.
Yeah.
Bandit.
Yeah, we saw this picture earlier.
Yeah, we seen that.
Track. Oh,
We were talking about the bearings. That's just a pile of bearings sitting in the shop ready to ship. To get the economies and to make it affordable, because years ago when I started, not when I started racing, but say 25 years ago when I was doing pro stock triple sleds, ran ceramic hybrid bearings. Not a lot of people knew about them, but they were expensive. You could spend probably $900, $1,000 in bearings equipping a sled. And so when I went into this business, one of the things I wanted to do is I thought, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to design the bearings for what they need to do and make it so that they're in the affordable range that a racer can afford. Because, you think bearings, you don't think anything of it, right? You think you'll go to replace your idler bearings. Not many people are going to want to spend $1,000 on replacing their bearings. So went to the manufacturers, and you have to buy them in quite a quantity to get the price
Yeah.
to where it is, even when you're dealing with different manufacturers. But yeah, that's what we came up with. So
Is it for American customers? Is there any issue with shipping to the U.S. right now?
I pretty much figured it out. I went through a lot of headaches shipping to the U.S. But thanks for asking that, because it kind of reminded me. Hurricane Performance is also sells our bearings. They have them listed on their website. They believe strongly in them as well, and he's currently equipping a warehouse in New York so that in the future our customers will be able to buy bearings and they won't have to cross ship across the border.
Oh, excellent. Cool. That's great. Good to know.
Yeah. That's from Kane's Quest. That's in northern Labrador. That was one of the pit stops for Team 44. And people, you asked a question there, Gary, about the snow buildup on the potentially on the wheels and stuff. And if you look at the sled with the red snow flat there on the right, there's one of those wheels that we just showed that was actually used in Kane's Quest. And
great.
You can't, there's no ice or snow buildup on that at all.
No, that's excellent. And the track still has lots of snow going to the cooler.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's very important to point out.
Oh, that's the picture of his sleds again.
There you go.
Very nice. Oh, there's a good shot of the
White
idlers.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So on that one, what we did is that that sled and that model year came with all the numbering and the lettering on the sled and the pinstripe for all that blue color. And I said, well, let's try it out. Let's anodize some blue and kind of play off of that highlight color on the sled. And we absolutely love the way it turned out. So
It looks really good. And again, you focused on the front idlers as well, which is really cool. I love that.
that was loaded up. That's outside Maxceleration World headquarters here in Calgary.
Sweet.
And, that was loaded up. That was the morning we left for Heydays.
Yeah, nice.
That's the trailer that serves as our on-site shop when we're at a race. Because a lot of customers come by and need some help or want to get some parts and that sort of thing. So the trailer is kind of our home away from home, and we tore down the road with the old Dirty Max. So,
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. An old
Are
cat eye.
you selling parts at Heydays as well? Like, do you have a tent set up there that with a table full of product?
No, we didn't. There's a couple of reasons why. When you're racing there, no time to man a booth. And there's some technicalities in terms of crossing the border and selling. And as we went through the border check, they went through the trailer and checked the sleds and everything. And we got asked 3 times if we were going to be selling product down there because there's visas and licensing and stuff that's involved with that.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, better stay out of that thing then. That's for sure. That's good. And then when you're there, you're if we wanted to visit you or someone wants to visit you at Heydays, do they go to the track side to see your trailer and setup or?
No, at Heydays, at a normal snow drag race or go to in the wintertime, absolutely. People come by all the time. At Heydays, it's locked down. You don't get into the pits unless you've got a wristband and you've been paid for and signed in. So.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That was a separate entrance there. If you've been there before, there's a couple of entrances in the Heydays. There's one that's racers only, and that was a check-in booth, and that little sign on the side. They check everything, and you have to have certain ratings of fire extinguisher in your trailer, and there's a lot of regulations involved. So you can see that in some of the signage there.
Yeah, I love that.
That's us waiting in line to go test.
Oh, I love it.
Behind starting line, yep.
There's that farm sled again.
Yep.
Oh, we didn't see this one.
Here.
Yeah.
So this was our first round pairing after qualifying. There was 12 sleds in the class in Pro Extreme 55. We didn't qualify last. We were the heaviest, oldest, most trailable sled there, and we didn't qualify last. We qualified 10th out of 12, and we got paired against the Farmall Sled's team sled, the Dirty Alice, and it is actually the world record holder at the time in Pro 55.
Holy.
So we're like, oh, great. We're just hoping to get some luck, get through a round or something like that. And here you get paired up against the world record holding sled in Pro 55. So it was kind of neat to have the picture taken beside it and line up with them. The neatest part of the story is I mentioned earlier how when you get to this level of performance, sleds can be, the tuning window is pretty narrow.
Yeah.
And they can be a little bit finicky. Well, we caught the luck of the century. Lined up against them. We were ready to go. Brought it up on a 2-step, as did he, and his launch control didn't hold, and he rolled through the beams.
Oh,
took a
no.
red light, and we got a win against the world record holder.
That is
Because he
awesome.
false started. Amazing. Amazing.
When you look at that, though, like the Dirty Alice is a serious race machine. Like you got the little skis and the custom hood.
Like
and,
the seat is just a
Yeah.
back to
yeah.
hold your ass.
And here you are on your wife's trail sled, pretty much. Like
Yeah, reverse still works. The heated handle grips work.
I love it. With accessories on the tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about mid-track making a pass.
Yeah, I love when you see those things. You barely see them go down the track because you're just a blur. But the rooster tail of dirt behind these things is insane.
Yeah, I think our best pass was 4.4 or something like that at 500 feet, and we didn't make. We could have done better. When I go back and look at the logs and look at the tuning, there's a couple of missteps in there. I'm pretty sure that if I got all the planets in alignment, it's a 3.9 second sled in 500 feet at 950 pounds.
This guy's just
Yeah. Yeah, All Terrain TV says he knows people have a track on the ceiling of the trailer and they lift the sled up and out. Is there a reason for that?
Because they've got better equipment than me.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's a driver's meeting Sunday morning at 8. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of drivers.
That's my team.
Cool.
And I got to thank these guys because you can't go there. Like any grass race, it's a ton of work, and you're pushing the sleds around, and you're prepping the starting line, and somebody's watching the board, and somebody's watching the competition and stuff. So there's a bunch of old guys, and there we are. There's me. The fellow next to me is Wayne Hines. He is still. He's about 4 or 5 years older than me, but he is still part of the Arctic Cat authorized race team. He gets into the race program all the time and is authorized to buy cat sleds and stuff. He's actually retired.
Nice.
From an Arctic Cat and Yamaha dealer, knows a ton about sleds. The next gentleman there is Albert Ratty, another friend of mine from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. He is a long-time racer, sled builder, and actually several years ago won the Best Engineered Sled Award at Heydays 2 years in a row. So he knows his stuff and has raced there before. And then the last fellow, Dale Roger, him and I have been friends for, I'm going to say 25 years. Very successful racer and has run race organizations, has been to ISR rule meetings, all that sort of thing. So there was a lot of experience. As much as we looked like, a bunch of hicks from Calgary running a trail sled, there was a ton of experience on the team that made it happen. So.
Oh, for sure. How many sleds, when you said you were 10th out of 12, but how many sleds were in the heat, like overall? Was there 4 heats of 12 or?
In Pro 55 and Outlaw, they run 2 sleds at a time. So it's always head to head, and winner moves on. So officially, we qualified in 10th out of 12, but because we got out of the first round by getting the win against the world record holder, our official finish was 6th at Heydays, and actually got a check in the mail about a month later.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. You guys have been there.
Yeah.
You know how big it is. That's an overhead drone shot of some of the grounds at Heydays, and you can't really see it with that little red circle and the arrow. That's us pitted.
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
That's where we were. That's how big an event it is.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
This must have been taken on Saturday.
Yeah. It's insane. Yeah.
We went on Sunday this year for the first time to walk it, and it's crazy the crowd difference Saturday versus Sunday. It's like you could Saturday you can't move, and on Sunday you could maybe shoot a bullet down some of the aisles, right?
Yeah. Well, like the swap meet is 30 acres.
Oh yeah. We walked the whole thing. It's a lot.
Yeah. And the serious swappers, they're all there Saturday morning, bright and early, because that's where you get the bargains and the unique stuff, right? So.
However, actually, our friends we went with, they found what sleds and stuff they were interested in on Saturday, and then waited to Sunday to go kick the guys in the nuts and lowball them because they didn't sell, and they ended up getting them for like half of what
you gotta be
was posted.
Yeah, you gotta be willing to take the gamble that they're not going to sell. Right?
You got to almost be going to Heydays wanting a sled, but not wanting one enough to go. I could let this one go if I could get it a little cheaper.
Yeah.
The person that wins the negotiation wants it less. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's very cool. That's it for the photos. It's awesome. For if people want to follow you on Facebook or Instagram, what are your channel handles?
Facebook, Maxceleration Racing. It's on there. Comes right up as soon as you start searching for it. Website, same thing, maxcelerationracing.com. Those are the two biggest things. Most of it do it on Facebook. It's a little extra work to do an Instagram thing too, and we can put more kind of text content on the Facebook stuff. So yeah, we do lots in there. So new product announcements, that sort of thing, tend to do through the Facebook page, and I actually have the feed off the Facebook page right on the website too. So if somebody's not on Facebook and they go to the website, they can actually scroll through the feed right on the home page of the website there. So
yeah, very cool. Make sure you follow Mike and Maxceleration Racing. And was there anything else you wanted to add?
Geez, I don't know. Well, I hope I didn't talk anybody's ear off, but I can go forever. So if there was questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But
yeah,
we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we did. It's been a great show. So All Terrain says the track must get pretty loose after a few runs like that one.
It does. And actually, the first bit of it is clay, and they water that clay down with like a big water truck, like a tanker truck. And then like a highway roller, like a big packer they use when they're doing asphalt on the highway. They use that once the track is wet enough, and they roll over the clay part of the track to smooth it out and force that water down into the clay. So there's a lot that goes on in preparing the track at a major event like that. I just thought of something I can add. I can add a tech tip for people with bearings that a lot of people don't know about bearings. Especially if you're a racer, or if you want optimum performance out of your bearings right out of the box, what the manufacturers don't tell you, but if you actually go to the bigger manufacturers, they'll talk about running a bearing in, and that it goes through a bit of it to get the lubrication that's put in there circulated properly, the rubber seals that are in the bearing to go. And bearings will perform their best if they are run in a little bit before they're actually installed and put into service. So what I do when I have new bearings and put them in, I use a cordless drill and a little rubber mandrel like you would use like on a sanding roll for a die grinder or something like that.
Yeah.
The sizes, when you buy those little packages, they're sizes that fit perfectly inside most of the common size bearings. Put the bearing on the rubber, run it on your drill for about 3 or 4 minutes on a cordless drill before you install the bearing, and you'll be at peak efficiency when it's put in without having to be run in. So the racer guys, they don't put on any miles, they can do that and get the optimal service out of their bearing without having to run it in for a while first. So there's a little performance tip for bearing install.
Very cool. What happens if you didn't run a bearing in?
It'll be okay. It'll take a while before it reaches its peak performance, and is more likely that you're going to get leakage around the seals of the lubricant that's inside the bearing.
Okay, cool. Good tip there. What about when you're installing bearings? I hear some people when they're putting them into like crankcases and stuff, they freeze them. Is there anything to that?
That's only on press fit type stuff where you have to worry about the heating and freezing. What we were talking about is the idler bearings. Be careful when you're installing them. I've watched, I see people's videos on YouTube all the time. Oh, we're going to install these bearings, and they're hammering them into the wheels. They've got a block or they got an old bearing they're hammering in. Hammering is okay for getting them out when you take the clip out, but if that bearing's been hammered on, that's the balls in that bearing are now been forced and stressed against those races that are on there. So when I'm installing bearings, when you do the install, I don't hammer them. I have an arbor press that I use, and the bearings go in smooth without the shock and the friction of being hammered. Be careful when you're installing your bearings. So use a press, or if you have to hammer it, use something on top of the bearing. Don't hammer on the center of the bearing. Make sure you're hammering on the outside part of the race so the ball doesn't get stressed. And when you're putting that circlip on, using your circlip pliers, make sure you don't snag the rubber seal. It's very easy to do when you're putting that circlip in. If you snag that rubber seal on there, it's a low friction, low temperature seal. And if you snag that, that seal could fail prematurely. You lose your lubricant, and the bearing life won't be what you hope it would be. So, yeah.
And All Terrain TV, do you run grease or oil in a bearing?
It's grease. An old performance tip, an old racer tip, they used to be, they'd pull the seals, wash them out, and put like a lightweight oil in there rather than the grease to try and reduce the rolling friction. Because there's only so much you can do with a steel bearing. That was very common. But you didn't get much life out of that bearing. It's okay for a drag racer, but for trail use, it was, almost a disaster to do it that way. And on a new high performance bearing, like our ceramic bearings, don't pull the seals, don't wash them out. They are shipped and designed to run the grease that's in them. If you pull that seal to try and do better in there, that seal is going to be damaged. You're not going to get it back in there properly to seal up, and you're going to severely shorten the life of the bearing.
Rappers TV says he appreciates all the expert knowledge. And LaPointski 800R says it's been a great show. Great guy to have on. So much knowledge. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Gary and Drew. Love you guys. And he gives us a three beers icon. Nice. Yeah, that's very cool.
Well, I'm glad that a couple of viewers found something they could find useful there. Phone numbers on the website. A lot of what I do every day is answering questions from people. I find that if you can give people advice and just give them an honest answer, people tend to appreciate that. There's lots of times where people phone up and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting this, or adding this to my sled, or doing this with a performance part or a tune." And then, so I'll ask them some questions about, what are your goals? What are you doing? Like, what is it not doing now? Where are you hoping to be? And don't get me wrong, I like money. I like selling stuff. It's what I do. But if I can make a decision for somebody, like one of the fastest racers out there is a guy that called me, said, "I've got a budget. Here's what I'm thinking." And I said, "No, don't do that. Do this. Save them some money and just focus on bang for the buck stuff." And I think people appreciate that rather than just being sold a bunch of parts to bolt on and maybe it doesn't work right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. All Terrain TV says only hammer on the outside of the race. Maybe is that okay? Or if you take a like the old bearing race or a socket that's size.
Yeah, if it's just the right size, you got to be careful with sockets because they're all kind of beveled a little bit on the edge of the socket. So if it's not just the right size, you're not going to get just on the outside, and you could end up being into that seal area a little bit. So yeah, you can do that if you're hammering them in, because not everybody's got a press. Lots of guys have a bench vise. You could take that bearing, and instead of hammering it, you could put it vertically into your vise and use your vise, screw your vise in to press your bearing in. And that's a gentler way to do it too, if you happen to have that. But if you do have to hammer on it, because that's the tools you have, and we're going to work with the tools that we have. Be careful to go on the outside of it. Never hammer on the inside. You have to hammer on the inside to get most of them out of the wheel. If you hammer on a bearing and take it out, don't reuse that bearing.
No.
A lot of people will try and save themselves $10 on a basic bearing by taking it out, servicing it, pulling the seals out of it, putting it back in. Geez, you go through all the labor of taking it out there, spend the $10 and put a standard bearing back in there. Cheap.
Yeah, exactly. 100% useful knowledge. Learned a lot this episode. Another comment come in. Yeah, always press. I agree. Brappers TV says. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, make sure you look it up. Like this video if you see it. Make sure you subscribe. Share it. Comment. Tell everybody about it. We're here every Monday night.
Guys, I really appreciate you having me on. And this fall, Toronto Snow Show, I think you guys will probably be there. Stop by the booth. I'll be with Dave there again at Hurricane. Stop by and say hi, and we'll shoot the bull and talk sleds. Yeah, for sure. And Heydays, we'll be there, but it sounds like we'll never be able to get close to you.
Right?
Well, people are asking me. I got asked that question on the weekend. Are you going again? Because so like the views I got, like people were following it like crazy on the online streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't. The answer is I don't know. It's a big, heavy old sled with a big, heavy old guy riding it, and we got a win against a world record holder. Well, what left do we have to accomplish? I don't think I can do any better.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if you have a Rednecks Dirty Hands showdown next year at Hay Days.
Yeah, we'll have to find a place. Those guys are fun. I think that would be fun. I don't even care who wins. I think it would just be fun to get together with them for a day and do some sledding.
Absolutely, they're a riot. So, now I thank you for stepping in on the 11th hour, last minute notice, and putting such a great show together for us. It's awesome. Thank you so much, Mike.
And thank you.
Thank you for having me on, and I'll be following along. So good luck with the rest of the season. Stay safe on the trails, and if there's anything I can help you out with, let me know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank
We
you.
will. Thanks, Mike. We'll run the outro and 2 more videos we think you'll like right here.
It's a journey.